So synthesis of yoga, page 638. The difficulty of the ascent is due to a natural ignorance. He is the Purusha, witness of mental and physical nature, Sakshi, but not a complete knower of self and nature, Gyata. Knowledge in the mentality is enlightened by his consciousness. He is the mental knower, but he finds that this is not a real knowledge, but only a partial seeking and partial finding. A derivative, uncertain reflection, and narrow utilization for action from a greater light beyond which is the real knowledge. This light is the self-awareness and all awareness of spirit. The essential self-awareness he can arrive at even on the mental plane of being by reflection in the soul of mind or by its absorption in spirit, as indeed it can be arrived at by another kind of reflection or absorption in soul of life and soul of body. But for participation in an effective all awareness with this essential self-awareness as the soul of its action, he must rise to supermind. To be Lord of his being, he must be knower of self and nature. Yata Ishvara. Partially, this may be done on a higher level of mind where it responds directly to supermind. But really and completely, this perfection belongs not to the mental being, but to the ideal or knowledge soul, Vijnanmaya Purusha, to draw up the mental into the greater knowledge being and that into the bliss self of spirit. Anandmaya Purusha is the uttermost way of this perfection. Just this word, two words were very interesting. This but for participation in an effective all awareness. Sometimes 3 lines above Ishvaraya. This word participation is good. Na? Then also there is a detachment it feels, right? One is you become it. But you are participating in all awareness. So that also is fully in awareness and as a witness only, right? You're choosing to participate. Very interesting word. And this one, to draw up the mental, as in again, not leaving behind, but drawing it up, right, into Vijnanmaya and Anandmaya. That also is interesting.
Yeah, I think this is what ye wala jo hai na, एक तो ये भी he must rise to supermind. The बार बार जो rising की aspect again and again it is there. मतलब on the level of again the sense perceptive mind. अगर हम वहीं रहें और सोचें कि कुछ मिरेकल हो जाए जिससे है ना मतलब आई जस्ट get to the super mind or whatever, some progress may be made. So rising is important. I think effort की जो बात करते हैं, and I was wondering about just last night. I was thinking of it. एक मिनट. मुझे पता हम So I was wondering that every moment we have to exercise a choice. We've talked about it many times. I There are possibilities of again going into whatever patterns are there, to each his own. And then there is a possibility which slowly gets opened that I have to rise. जो rising की बात हो रही थी ना इसमें. At times it may be easy, for some patterns which are relatively detached, easy, you can brush it off aside. At times, like there is a lot of clouding, and irrespective of the clouding, as if the being is trying to rise. It doesn't want to remain in the cloud. It doesn't want anything from the cloud, but the cloud is there. So ये जो आज एक दो जगह और ज़्यादा जो है ना rising की जो बात है, to drop the mental. So not engaging the mental in the sense mind, the physical mind, always interpreting, always trying to believe in what little it understands. And this one, yeah, he must rise to superman. वो अपने एफर्ट की बात दिखती है बार बार कि एफर्ट मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि हम एफर्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम एनीवे कर रहे हैं, which has now become effortless for us because it's just a habit. To follow the patterns is a habit. So I say कि अगर मुझे राइज करना है तो मुझे एफर्ट करना पड़ेगा. But yeah, also one feels a kind of a repulsion or a, I don't know, it's like a, doesn't feel right now to be in the same pattern. The older ones, something doesn't feel right. So that rising feels more, माना effort हो रहा है वहाँ पे. Rising में there is an effort to let go of the lower, not get entangled, but it feels right. So one makes the effort.
Yeah, I have a small example on this. I was on bed rest and I did not do exercises, right? So I've been noticing that there's a group of muscles called adductors, which are holding, for the legs, when you close them, they're adductors. And when you open them, they're abductors. So one group of muscles was really tight after, say, 3 months, 2 months. And I was very surprised that how can it be so tight in such a short while? And I just was wondering about it. And yesterday during the session, for the first time, I noticed that, how in general, like guys always sit with legs open and girls usually their legs are together, right? I noticed that there was a constant blind pressure from the body to keep the legs together when I'm sitting, as in for hours. I'm not even aware of it, and they are together. I'm holding the knees together,
Oh.
and there's so much tension in that group. And I am 43, and I don't know it. I don't know that I am consciously exerting pressure to keep the knees together. And no, because sitting like that, I've never done that. I mean, it was shocking to me yesterday when in the session I realized what pressure I'm feeling, like what is it I'm doing, and then I let go, and then the legs, and it was like, oh God, like is this also a possibility? And but the shocking thing is, I didn't know I had been doing it. Like we say कि I'm the body, है ना, मतलब उस पे भी थप्पड़ लगता है कि I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, what pattern is ruling what, and consciously I'm not aware of. Yeah, just the blindness of it really bowled me over, and suddenly I see this. And right now, when I'm sitting without that pressure, a part of me wants to exert the
because of the habit, yeah.
हाँ तो अब वो अभी भी स्ट्रगल ही है, मतलब एक तरफ से
Struggle, yes,
रिलैक्सेशन है,
yes.
फिजिकल रिलैक्सेशन एंड मेंटल वो कि अरे और पहले मेंटल रिलैक्सेशन थी और फिजिकल स्ट्रगल थी काइंड ऑफ आई डोंट नो
या
बट
मतलब वही है ना, पता है यहाँ पे भी वही बात है कि समथिंग इन द बीइंग नोज दैट हाउ इट हैज टू बी, नाउ द बीइंग इज रेडी टू पुट एफर्ट। माना वो उसमें मुश्किल हो रही है तो वही अभी ये बॉडी लेवल पे हो गया, आइदर एट द थॉट इमोशनल लेवल, दैट व्हेन इमोशंस एंड थॉट्स आर पुलिंग यू डाउन and there is nothing in your being that wants anything from there, so then you, although rising is still difficult, keeping your consciousness above the sense mind still difficult, but you do it because you know it is right. And one thing which I've also noticed, I'm sure you must have noticed also, so whenever one is able to this find a place of ease, whether at mental level, emotional level, like the one who shared bodily level, there is a kind of और स्पेशली उन केसेस में जहाँ पे आई एम पुटिंग my conscious effort to go through, like it may be clouding from an emotional pattern and I'm going through, and the moment I cross over at least that little chunk, it's like breathing becomes एक, you know, एक flow change हो जाता है, if you have seen. So I've noticed it both the places, either I do it with conscious staying with the breath, then also after that cloud is over, like the breath is, both the nostrils are operational, and if I raise my station above the head and try to like rise above an emotional pattern or whatever which may be pulling me down, again as if ekdam say you touch a space where both the nostrils are operational, flow, you can feel that flow, easy flow.
yeah. Yeah. The moment yesterday when I realized and I let go, the first thing I felt was that suddenly I was breathing. Okay, something was removed, right?
Easy, yeah.
And again, like you're talking about emotional level, right? So my brain would say that emotions are more complicated and there's a clouding there. Okay, understandable. But body, I was very shocked for a minute, like कि मेरी muscle ऐसे stretch position में, मतलब not stretch as in you know
Tension.
ये tension वाली position में exactly, and पता ही नहीं मतलब इतनी blindness कि मेरी body exert कर रही है वो pressure, मतलब I am telling you, and it happened to me yesterday, and still a part of me is refusing to believe कि ये कैसे हो सकता है, बकवास है, मतलब that's not possible. So it's very, मतलब it just shows the level of I am not here वाली बात है ना.
Yeah, there's so many things which become important, call us all the time.
But no perfection, much less this perfection can be attained. Sorry, but no perfection, much less this perfection can be attained without a very radical dealing with the present nature and the abrogation of much that seems to be the fixed law of its complex nexus of mental, vital, and physical being. The law of this nexus has been created for a definite and limited end: the temporary maintenance, preservation, possession, aggrandizement, enjoyment, experience, need, action of the mental ego in the living body. Other resultant uses are served, but this is the immediate and fundamentally determining object and utility. To arrive at a higher utility and freer instrumentation, this nexus must be partially broken up, exceeded, transformed into a larger harmony of action. The Purusha sees that the law created is that of a partly stable, partly unstable, selective determination of habitual yet developing experiences of a first confused consciousness of self and non self, subjective being and external universe. This determination is managed by mind, life, and body acting upon each other in harmony and correspondence, but also in discord and divergence, mutual interference and limitation. There is a similar mixed harmony and discord between various activities of the mind in itself, as also between activities of the life in itself and of the physical being. The whole is a sort of disorderly order, an order evolved and contrived out of a constantly surrounding and invading confusion.
So I think what mother says, no, how we are like not one but many, and like one part of my being may be wanting this, the other part wants almost completely opposite if I get in touch with that other part. And at at this very moment, if I say I am honest, I can find 10 different occasions where I will have dishonesty parallelly living in me. So this confused, but no perfection, much less this perfection, what he's talking of, can be attained without a very radical dealing. अब देखो मतलब I think this is very interesting because many a times I have heard, because मतलब my own attitude has been at times very radical in dealing with even day-to-day affairs. So I have heard many times from people that why do you have to take this so radical step? So it comes as a as if you are lanchan ki tarah, it comes as an arop on you, that why do you want to do that? Why do you want to change the system of whatever is going on? And somehow it's almost a shamelessness that I feel, because so far I never regret all those radical steps that I took, even the major ones, not the day-to-day things that may feel weird, but even the major ones, if you look back, so they feel so right. And yes, they were radical. So this is very interesting how we are always shunning away the radical action that is needed to be taken all the time. It needs to be taken. And that's why maybe so many, I believe, masters, so many masters in their own times, they were actually You know, in their own times, they were actually not very. Later on, people gave them so much respect and wow, what courage and what he has given to society and mankind. But in their own times, they were not very celebrated, one can say. It was like, क्यों परेशान कर रहे हो, सब कुछ चलने तो दो आराम से. जैसे ओशो का भी देखते हैं, सेम, other masters. It seems like a madness that they were doing, and people are saying that why are you doing this madness? Please don't do. So just talking about it on a larger level. Now, this is about dealing with the nature, that we have to deal with the nature in a radical way, he says. That much less this perfection can be attained without a very radical dealing with the present nature. कि उठा के अभी पूरे घर का साफ कर दिया एक ही दिन में. Almost that kind of enthusiasm also. Present nature and the abrogation of much that seems to be the fixed law of its complex nexus of mental, vital, and physical being. So again, a very challenging kind of a space to be. That what appears so fixed, like Savitri is challenging death. People must be saying, "Have you gone mad? How can you challenge death?" Not a possibility. Go eat something. You are so tired. Pulling the person back to his mortal condition, not letting him rise above.
Just stopping here for a second.
Mhm.
Lot of times when I have seen people console people in grief, extreme grief, they usually use the mechanism of distraction, right? Like you said, go eat something. And I wondered that should it be done, right? Like if somebody is deep in his pain, and as a society, we try to distract. So I wondered whether it's a good thing or one should actually be allowed to go in that pain fully. Because नॉर्मल जिंदगी में हम अलाउ ही नहीं करते और ना ही आता है इतने लेवल का जो हिला जाता है ना टू अस टू आवर वेरी कोर. तो जस्ट ये जो एक ग्रीफ की मैकेनिज्म है क्योंकि यूज डिस्ट्रैक्शन टेक देम आउट ओवर बिकम ओवर अवेलेबल अराउंड दैट पर्सन कि उसको अकेला ही नहीं छोड़ो. ये जो इतना डर है डिप्रेशन से और दुख से और वो भी
ऐसा
अपनी
लगता है कि
वीकनेस नहीं देखा.
as if he's approaching the door of the divine and we pull him back.
बिकॉज इतना एक्सट्रीम वो देखने की हमें आदत नहीं होती है ना. हमें लगता है सब सुपरफिशियली ही रहे कि अरे खुश हो ना, ठीक हो ना, अच्छा है ना. मतलब somebody से कि नहीं मेरी दुनिया खत्म हो गई है, we'll be like कि नहीं 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 ऐसे कैसे बोल रहे हो,
हाँ,
राइट. लाइक
चल शॉपिंग चलते हैं.
मतलब we don't let that pain
Yeah,
stay or sink के.
yeah, yeah. I think वही है, मतलब most of the time the attitude with which we go through such things, वही है कि मतलब, लेकिन वही है कि किसको क्या पता कि क्या एटीट्यूड लिया जा रहा है. ओनली आई वुड नो व्हाट इज द एटीट्यूड. मतलब हो सकता है इतनी राइपनिंग आ गई हो दैट इफ आई स्टे विद दैट पेन इट एक्चुअली serves like a tunnel. But many a times it happens that it takes me actually down, commit suicide or whatever, just a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's maybe the confusion that rather than that person going down deeper into a suicidal condition, I would say कि चल तू कुछ खा पी ले, मतलब at least वहां पे तो आ जा, because one doesn't know,
Mm,
मतलब वो कहाँ किस डायरेक्शन में वो जा सकता है, गलत डायरेक्शन में जा सकता है.
yeah.
And having said that, there are also examples. Just a second. Yeah.
And on the radical aspect,
Hmm.
but we so many times we sometimes one wonders that how did we come this far,
Hmm.
right? Like how that the most not natural, like what you want to do and what seems like the right thing is a radical
वो
move.
हाँ वो रेडिकल लगता है, हाँ सही कह रही
So
बिल्कुल.
in the sense, because we have come so far, right?
Yeah, हाँ.
And
That's
when
why
you
it
were
has to be named radical.
it
हाँ.
has to be named, but it's
Yeah.
not, there's no radical. You can say if I'm
Very true.
stopping the sati movement,
हाँ हाँ. It
it's
will
not,
be radical, है ना?
yeah, exactly, right? But it's so wrong to be
Hmm.
even there
हाँ.
that it is just the right
Yes,
thing.
very true, very true. I think very true. But just because I'm habituated to the wrong, the right seems radical, which should be actually my nature. It seems radical. So yeah, exactly. How far we have come from our true self. Yes.
So when you started talking, when you were elaborating on it, I was suddenly remembered of, reminded of that Masiha character of illusions.
Hmm.
That how he was holding on, all those creatures were just holding on, that letting go seemed like madness. And while letting go was the right thing for it to flow. And that's what happens to us, right? That sticky nature, it's very
Yeah,
weird
true.
how.
Just a matter of habit, how what we have become habituated to. और वो ये कि अगर वो 10,000 लोग सेम हैबिट फॉलो करते हैं तो वो नॉर्मल लगता है कि भाई तुझे ही क्यों होना है अब नॉर्मल, ना वो नहीं है क्या, वो नहीं है क्या.
मतलब ये जो होता है ना कि जो जैसा है उसको वैसा चलने दो, टुवर्ड्स दैट एक ऐसी सेक्रेडनेस है जो कि एक्चुअली में रिपल्शन होना चाहिए कि क्यों चलने दें, मतलब बट अपनी ब्लाइंडनेस में हम ये भी देखते नहीं है कि इट डिडंट वर्क फॉर मी.
Yeah.
When somebody is telling me, and I don't think there would be anybody who would have not heard that कि तुम क्यों हिला रहे हो, तुम्हें क्या प्रॉब्लम है, तुम्हें ही अलग चाहिए क्या. And then when they're saying that, they're saying कि are we not okay, we did it. मतलब अपनी वही blindness, जैसे I was talking about my leg, दिखती ही नहीं है. It's entertaining and sad both, even the reflection on it.
अगर मैं बैटरी ज्यादा डाल दूं बताऊं क्या हैंड फैन.
आप इसको यहीं पे बिठा दो, एक स्टूल रख.
But no perfection, much less this perfection, can be attained without a very radical dealing with the present nature and the abrogation of much that seems to be the fixed law of its complex nexus of mental, vital, and physical being. I think this very radical dealing, यहाँ पे वो भी आता है, how we deal with our emotions. Many a times, if we say, talk about transcending them, not engaging, rising above, many people say that how unnatural is that? Because for us, natural has become something else. Isn't it suppression? Because I have that feeling. Shouldn't I listen to that feeling? Because listening and indulging in those feelings has become a habit. So then again, this term, very radical dealing. Otherwise, goal, उसी में लगे रहो.
This time in Harmony Circle, there was I had shared a video from Jetsunmala in which a girl is saying that when I was 3, my mother died, and what do? I cannot rise up. And Jetsunmala scolded her that do you think you are just that? And till when will you be here? And why are we so stupid that we want to cling to our pain? It was beautiful. Like, I've seen it often, and I find it one of the most powerful things to shake a person out of its slumber, And one of the person, she found that very objectionable. How do you say it?
Objectionable.
And she said, how can somebody be so rude? How can you tell her when is it okay to come out? Why would you not give her love and space to grow out?
But
So
this is love, and that doesn't appear to be love.
Exactly. Yeah.
Our notions of love that we are immersed in. Yes.
It was beautiful to see how like AP says कि तुमको आग से बचाने के लिए मुझे आग से नहीं तुमसे लड़ना पड़ता है. तो उसका लाइव एग्जाम्पल कि आई सो मच लव माई ट्रॉमास माई पेन कि कोई बोले कि अरे बस कर, हम बोलते थे तू बस कर, तेरे को क्या पता, है ना? And I see that, I call that love, exactly.
I think जब उसकी वो ग्रिप में होते हैं ना, अगेन फेजेस ऑफ अवर लाइफ, जब उसी में ग्रिप में होते हैं हम, और उसी में रेजोल्यूशन भी उसी के अंदर ही चाहिए होता है, तो फिर ऑफ कोर्स सच फेज, फिर एक्चुअली उस बंदे पे गुस्सा आता है जो उठाना चाह रहा है ना, उसके ऊपर गुस्सा आता है. ये कौन सा तरीका है उठाने का? उठाना है तो प्यार से उठा ले. क्योंकि अभी वो उसमें इतना वो है एंटेंगलमेंट. या प्लीज गो अहेड.
I was saying even in physical, अब ये तो एक इमोशनल मेंटल बात हो गई ना. जैसे when I was a therapist, like studying therapy, उसमें भी something is hurting, right? Or something is stiff and you're trying to move it. If it's a child, he'll be howling, कि why are you doing it? An adult will be getting angry कि बस करो बेटा, बस करो. तो हर लेवल पे हमको,
एंड दैट्स व्हाई एंड्योरेंस, रेजिलियंस, कि ये दर्द तो होगा, मतलब जब तक डार्कनेस है एंड वी हैव टू ट्रैवल टुवर्ड्स लाइट, दर्द तो होगा बिकॉज वी आइडेंटिफाई विद डार्कनेस, वी बिकम हैबिचुएटेड विद डार्कनेस. लेकिन लाइट की तरफ बढ़ना है तो फिर दर्द होगा. सो वन हैज टू एंड्योर. ठीक है, लग गई तो लग गई, अच्छा हुई हो गई तो हुई हो गई. सो टू नो व्हाट इज द राइट डायरेक्शन and to endure the pain towards the right direction, just like naturally it comes in childbirth, knowing okay अब है पेट में तो बाहर तो निकलना है उसने. तो नहीं होता तो अलग बात है, बट है तो अब डायरेक्शन तो एक ही है, वो सही डायरेक्शन है. तो उसके लिए जो पेन है वो एंड्योर होगा, या एनेस्थीसिया लो या बिना एनेस्थीसिया के. And it's amazing to see that how it just comes again and again. This new birth, new birth, new birth, new birth. How many times actually this has to happen constantly, as mother says, no, prayers and meditations, like how she says the universe is recreating itself every moment. हम ही हैं जो बस एक पुराने बात से चले जा रहे हैं बस. यूनिवर्स तो इवन फिजिकल सेल्स आर डाइंग एवरी मोमेंट एंड रिजुविनेटिंग एवरी मोमेंट, बट हमें नहीं छोड़नी अपनी पुरानी जिंदगी. इंटरेस्टिंग. The law of this nexus has been created for a definite and limited end. Like we say, ego is the helper, ego is the bar. So there is a purpose of this complex nexus of Fick's law of the complex nexus of mental, vital, and physical being. It has a purpose. And again, I think here also comes this aspect of creating and developing an individuality. That, okay, this is me, this is my thought, my feeling, my body, so that I can actually cultivate it, nurture it, take care of it. The law of this nexus has been created for a definite and limited end. मतलब इनडेफिनेटली किसी भी चीज को खींचोगे तो वो है ना रूडिमेंट्री हो जाती है, पुरानी हो जाती है. बोलते क्यों इसको अभी तक खींच रहे हो, कौन सी सदी की बात कर रहे हो. तो वही हमारे साथ भी वही चल रहा है. हम कौन सी सदी का काम अभी भी लेके उसको एज अ बैगेज, डजंट फील इवन लाइक अ बैगेज. The law of this nexus has been created for a definite and limited end. The temporary maintenance, preservation, possession, aggrandizement, enjoyment, experience, need, action of the mental ego in the living body. Again, I think वहाँ पे आ गए हम, how we need the temporary individuality so that it is something. I am something. It's not a jelly-like collective mass, but this is me. So temporary maintenance. So I will maintain, take care of what I call as myself. Includes mental ego, the temporary maintenance, preservation, possession. अब देखो यहाँ पे वो बात भी आ गई, जैसे मतलब अगर 10 लोग कुछ और कह रहे हैं और मैं कह रही हूँ नहीं 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 मुझे ये चाहिए, आप कह रहे होगे वो बट मुझे ये चाहिए. तो अगेन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ इंडिविजुअलिटी. सो फॉर दिस पार्ट आई हैव टू प्रिजर्व माई ओपिनियन, like this is what I would like to do. So temporary maintenance, preservation, possession, even aggrandizement, enjoyment, experience, need, action of the mental ego in the living body. So this is the limited definite end that he is sharing. Other resultant uses are served, but this is the immediate and fundamentally determining object and utility. So the immediate utility is development of a mental ego, that I know myself as this and this person, having this such and such thought and view about whatever one may be discussing about life. This is what I want from life. The other resultant uses are served, but this is the immediate and fundamental determining object and utility. Doesn't work here. Yeah. Yeah.
Mother often says na कि the law of nature or laws are towards a limited thing, and once you're here, then those laws, the divine law work, right? So say maybe there are 10 hooligans, right? And we make 10 laws and we say, okay, now you have to live together and these are the laws. So out of that, if out of those 10, if one wants to now further rise, we say, no, 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 remember the law. Right? That's what happened to us as a society. है ना? If we don't realize कि it was कि हम hooliganism से एक basic उस पे आए. But that was never supposed to be limited.
Yeah. It has its own utility and also a limitation. Limitation भी होगी. True.
And we don't see this कि अगर मैं अब उसको रोक रहा हूँ कि तो उसको transcend मत कर. कि how I'm kind of going against the growth, the development, the evolution of a person.
Yeah.
If I'm stopping it, I will say, oh, I'm doing the right thing.
Yes.
Because see where they were and what they can become,
Hmm.
but not seeing where they are moving now, right? So
आई थिंक मदर सेज कि वो ये कि मतलब यही है ना कि ये चीज़ हर बंदे से डिस्कस नहीं करी जा सकती, ये जो अभी द थिंग दैट वी आर राइट नाउ टॉकिंग, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ अस आर इन दिस प्लेस कि अभी तो लॉज हो तो ही बेटर है ना। तो अब कहीं अगर हमने इसको लॉ बना दिया कि नहीं, देर शुड बी नो लॉ, तो वो गड़बड़ हो जाएगी, वो घोटाला हो जाएगा। तो दैट्स व्हाई आई थिंक मदर सेज दैट रीजन, यू हैव टू रियली वॉक बाय रीजन रीजन रीजन, क्योंकि अभी हम वहां पे पहुंचे नहीं है जहाँ पे, है ना, मोस्ट ऑफ अस वर्चुअली, एंड अगेन डिपेंडिंग ऑन कौन कहाँ पे है। तो अगर आप टीनेजर्स से बात कर रहे हो, यंग पीपल हु आर डेवलपिंग देयर इंडिविजुअलिटी, उनसे बात करी जा रही है, तो उनको तो यही बोलेंगे कि हाँ, फॉलो और ऑल्सो डेवलप रीजन एंड टॉक अबाउट इट, अच्छा डिस्कस इट, व्हाट आर योर ओपिनियंस, डेवलप योर थॉट। क्योंकि इसको उल्टी तरीके से बहुत आसानी से ट्वीक किया जा सकता है कि अरे देखो समाज हमें दबा के रख रहा है तो कुछ भी करेंगे, है ना। So people do, and all kinds of things are done in that, especially in the young age, in the name of rebellion, in the name of freedom.
JNU is coming so strongly to me when you are saying.
Yeah. मतलब फ्रीडम और लाइसेंशियसनेस का हमको एज ए वो थिन लाइन पता ही नहीं है। फ्रीडम के नाम पे, अच्छा स्पेशली जो पेरेंट्स ने कह दिया वो तो करेंगे ही नहीं पक्का, दिस इज माय फ्रीडम। Drugs, all kind of substances, hooliganism, as you were sharing, going to bars at night, all that appears like, oh, I am reclaiming my freedom, है ना, ऐसा लगता है। फ्रीडम सबको चाहिए, बट पता नहीं कौन से तरीके से चाहिए, वो नहीं पता। तो लगता है चलो ये लॉ था, इसको तोड़ेंगे, अब मिलेगी फ्रीडम। अब ये नहीं दिखता कि वो लॉ एक्चुअली तुम्हारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है, वो नहीं दिखता।
एंड जो इसको तोड़ रहा है एक्चुअली फॉर द हायर पर्पस, इसी के लिए उसको रेडिकल होना पड़ रहा है।
हाँ,
एवरीथिंग इज नाउ वेरी मेकिंग मोर सेंस, राइट?
बिल्कुल
वो ठीक है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
एंड दैट इज व्हाई आई थिंक आचार्य प्रशांत वुड से कि अगर किसी के रोकने थे रुक गए तो
हाँ,
तुम कभी चले ही नहीं
बिल्कुल
थे।
बिल्कुल। Yeah. So I think that conviction develops, grows gradually as we grow as a personality, and to each his own. Everyone is a different stage of personality development or whatever growth of consciousness. तो सबके लिए सेम रूल तभी एप्लीकेबल नहीं हो सकता, बोल ही नहीं सकते, बहुत घोटाला हो जाएगा, गड़बड़ हो जाएगी। हाँ आ रही, जस्ट सेकेंड। मीराबाई का हमारे पास एग्जाम्पल इतना अच्छा है ना, मतलब वेयर बीइंग रेडिकल जो बात कर रहे थे, लेकिन वो ये कि वन मस्ट हैव अ प्रॉपर डायरेक्शन टू बी रेडिकल। हमारी जो रेडिकलिटी होती है वो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स तो जिद होती है एक, है ना, कि क्योंकि समाज बोल रहा है अच्छा इसलिए नहीं करेंगे। बट अगर डायरेक्शन है तो फिर बनता भी है वो क्रॉस ओवर करना। और फिर इनफैक्ट रुका भी नहीं, जो जो आप कह रहे थे ना कि अगर रुक गए तो फिर तो डजंट मेक सेंस ऑल्सो।
I think in all the lives, right? Like say if you look at Buddha, right? Leaving a
हाँ,
kingdom, a
या
newborn
रेडिकल,
baby,
या
born.
या
Mahavira, he wanted to give up clothes.
या
People would call him mad, throw
या
stones at him, but करना है ना? जैसे मुझे गुरु नानक का तो इतना वैसे नहीं पता, but even like say not protecting his field, which is his most famous thing, है ना, कि अरे eat, दैट इज रैडिकल इन इट्स वो, है ना, कि मैं क्या खाऊंगा ये नहीं सोचा, राइट? तो एवरीवेयर।
इनफैक्ट अगर आप मदर का देखो, श्री अरबिंदो का देखो, रेडिकली लगता है कि मतलब ये हो क्या रहा है, mother is married 2 times and she is just coming, है ना. और हम कितना इम्पोर्टेंस इन चीज़ों को देते हैं, मैरिज, बच्चे, ना, मतलब. और मतलब मुझे लगता है हम तभी इन चीज़ों को इम्पोर्टेंस दे पाते हैं बिकॉज अभी वो मिला नहीं है हमको जिसके लिए इन चीज़ों की इम्पोर्टेंस खत्म हो जाएगी. जब वो मिल जाता है तो फिर क्या चीज़ है, मतलब ये क्या है, एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, एक वॉट एवर. So she also had a child, mother had a child. Though say 2 marriages, Sri Aurobindo also married, but knew what his calling is, followed it.